Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Quant Network, aka QNT. So sit back, relax, and before we fully jump on into this video, I do just want to ask you guys, could please leave a like on this video. It does help the channel grow immensely, and of course I do always greatly appreciate it. And if you guys do find any of the information in this video valuable, useful, or interesting in any sort of way, definitely hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on to never miss a future update. Now, let's just jump in and let's talk about QNT as the market is green today. I told you guys this morning that I definitely am going to be watching a lot of the major indices because that's pretty much where, we are going to see a lot of fluctuation in price. So I'm waiting for the opening bell, to be honest with you guys, until I do see any sort of major price action in this market. I'm not really kind of focused on it currently until then, but of course we can kind of look at QNT wherever she is down here at number 71. There we go. Sitting around $100, I would assume. We have been kind of just ranging here. Overall, I think that this is still at fairly good levels. It's not too bad at all. We didn't really lose too bad of a structure. We hit about like the $87 range, which is expected, especially when Bitcoin does drop as low as it did, and when Bitcoin dominance is fairly high. Now the major thing to really kind of address and look at is, considering Bitcoin dominance is at about 42%, we have to watch for Bitcoin, to really kind of break over 44K. And then watch for Bitcoin dominance kind of start dropping slowly. Or we have to pay attention to, if Bitcoin does drop, guess what happens to our altcoins? They drop severely. So we need to pay attention to that. We need to watch out for that. So please just be aware of that if we do have Bitcoin, kind of go up a little bit and then correct a little bit, your holdings in terms of altcoins are going to be rough. But I will say this, I do still think that mass accumulation has been happening for QNT. We can pretty much see that the holders' address is continuing to increase day by day by day, which of course, in terms of that, we're still seeing, exchange supply diminishing as days go on. There's not too much supply out there left for QNT, honestly. I think that people really kind of undermine the idea of, 12 million supply. Yeah, sure, the price is fairly high at about $101, but I'm pretty sure almost any individual out there, for the most part, has a spare $100 to pretty much jump into QNT. So, there's only 12 million spots for that, and I'm sure that there's whales out there that are holding 50, 100, 1,000, even 5,000. I know an individual on Twitter, I'm not going to mention their name, but they do hold about like 7,500 QNT. And they did accumulate under $5. So that is huge, to say the least. But let's actually talk about some price predictions. So, I told you guys, for the most part, I said, when we're talking about QNT and we're talking about the price predictions for it, we could only do a little bit of, some research, understand what QNT is pretty much bringing to this market, understand the overall use cases behind it. A lot of people think that interoperability layers are easy to build, especially from an overall DLT perspective. But I want you to all understand that, yeah, you can make a network interoperable, but you cannot make it interoperable with every single other DLT technology. For example, for Hyperledger Fabric to communicate with, let's just say, R3 Corda, right? You still need an interoperability layer that's going to allow those networks specifically to gossip to one another. Almost every network in this space has a different consensus network or consensus algorithm, so they won't be able to communicate with one another seamlessly or easily. What QNT has built is a network that is plugged and played with major financial institutions to utilize any DLT of their choice. There's nothing out there in this market like that. I don't think people realize the patent technology behind QNT truly is limitless in terms of its value. Now we do see here, I hope you understand why I never answered, to questions like, what's your price prediction for QNT by the end of the year? All the predictions are just guesses made by uneducated people who are trying to make you and themselves feel good. Focus on value, price will inevitably follow. And this is the truth, right? When I give you guys a price prediction on QNT, for example, I've always said that when we're talking about QNT, it's inevitable for us to hit Bitcoin's market cap eventually. I'm not saying this year, I'm not saying next year. By the end of this year, who knows where we will be. I've always said about like $1,000 is like bare minimum. But I think that we could end up somewhere within the range of like $5,000 to $10,000 if adoption does happen as fast as we are expecting it to, and as if we're talking about even Bitcoin as well. Like I seen somebody say, like Bitcoin is going to $400,000. Like that's going to be the next moment where we really kind of see Bitcoin, really be adopted in. I don't think that is the case. Okay, we'd have a market cap of $7.6 trillion. And I actually have the article over here. Like, we've seen this, right? It's documenting Bitcoin. Of course, it is a biased account, but Bitcoin will fall below $400,000 next. And we do see here, Bitcoin falls below the $400 mark, down more than 60% from its all-time high, going back to 2014. It falls below $4,000, $40,000. And then, of course, next would be $400,000. I just don't see that. I mean, I don't see it happening this year or next year. But I do think that Bitcoin will hit $400,000 eventually. I think it's inevitable. And if this is at a $7.6 trillion market cap, and we do know that Q&T currently, so first off, we're not even going to address, Q&T's value at $7.6 trillion because that's just insane to say the least. But we're at a $1.4 billion market cap. So bare minimum prices. But what if we even if we hit $100 billion, which is like the almost bare minimum prices for a lot of altcoins that were in the top 10 during the height of this bull run, that's a 73x. We'd be at about $7,400. I think that that's fairly reasonable. I see Q&T at a $100 billion evaluation. But of course, I'm not going to fluctuate, and I'm not going to focus on price action alone. I told you guys, Q&T is a long-term hold of mine. Like, I don't really care to sell it. It's kind of like one of those bags I can kind of just forget about. Being able to do that provides you with so much less stress. Like, it truly is incredible to say the least. But we just here, remember, time in the market beats timing the market for 90% of people. Era of tokenization is yet to begin. Get in early like we are today and we will all win. Zoom out. And this is truly the overall idea that I have around this market too. Like, here's time in the market, right, versus timing the market. Like, who's going to predict any of this stuff? Like Black Monday, first Gulf War, bond crash, even the 2008 financial crisis. Like, yeah, sure, there was warning signs around this point, but, nobody would have predicted this. And, of course, we do see, 2009, central bank monetary easing. It bounced back in a little over almost 4 years, similar to the bull run in crypto. It's around 4 years. Even 2003 to 2008-ish was about 5 years. Crypto is almost the same exact thing. It's almost, it's truly the idea on if you're spending as much time in this market as you will anything else, if you put the time in, the dedication in, the work in to really kind of understand what you are holding, you will always succeed. Look at the all-time chart for Bitcoin. Do you honestly think that these people back here in 2013 when they were buying, Bitcoin under $100, similar to Q&T now, do you honestly think that they thought that it would ever hit $36,000, let alone $70,000? I mean, they're sure, there was a lot of visionaries around that time, but now we have clear cut and dry evidence that we're going to go to some high figure numbers. Projected tokenized market volume until 2027. We're seeing $24 trillion. This is a $24 trillion asset class in just tokenization alone, which we know is not even the main player behind crypto adoption anyways. Like, we're seeing so much more. Like, we're talking about the metaverse, NFTs, DeFi, bridges for traditional finance to DeFi. We're seeing, so many use cases within this space that by 2027, we could easily be, a 20 to $50 trillion asset class. We've seen numbers being thrown out there like $200 trillion by 2030. I made a video on it yesterday. I talked to you guys about it. This is why I hold Q&T. because Q&T is also focusing on the tokenization space. And when we're talking about interoperability, like, this is the best quote that I've seen in terms of, interoperability. And this is coming from MIT Cambridge, right? Thomas Hardiono. I hope that I'm saying that name right. Interoperability is key to survivability and is core to the entire value proposition of blockchain technology. Interoperability across blockchain systems must be a requirement if blockchain systems are to become the fundamental infrastructure of the future global commerce. Okay, and I just want to reiterate the idea that when we're talking about the global commerce future, when we're talking about the global financial system and future infrastructure of everything, we're already seeing tokenization becoming the realization of what is going to happen within crypto adoption. Don't take my word for it. Take Swift's word for it. Take these banks' words for it. Banks are moving in on crypto. Why do you think that regulations, executive orders are being thrown out? Things like that are happening right now. It's because they see the value behind this technology. They see the overall basis behind this technology. Yes, Bitcoin will continue to go up and up and up on the long-term viewpoint fractals. If we're talking about $20,000 being the 2017-2018 high, we've already blown past that number by almost, it's over 3x, right? We hit 69K. What if we go to, for example, 80K? We're talking about a 4x from those prices back in 2017-2018. And if we're talking about the next bull run, maybe we go just to 80K. We'll just say 80K is the topping point. That's going to be huge. We're talking about like $320,000 to $400,000 per Bitcoin in the next bull run, which would be around technically the 2025 to 2026 timeframe anyways. And if we're discussing Q&T's price by then, it's almost impossible to even imagine what Q&T's value will be at that point. We have to really kind of just keep watching, adoption of DOT technologies and interoperability, but we know that interoperability is playing a huge key role. I've talked to you guys about this almost on a day-to-day basis because I want you to all understand that interoperability might seem like an easy thing to build out and to have, but a lot of these networks, it's a cascading factor for them to not be adopted because interoperability is such a huge key role that a lot of people don't realize is actually fairly hard to achieve when you're talking about multiple overall consensus algorithms and networks in general that need to be able to communicate and gossip. It's not like me saying, okay, well, I'm going to upload this file to Google and just send it over to you on, for example, like, I don't know, another email provider like Hotmail or something. It's not like that. No, this is completely different networks and systems that have all completely different technology behind it that doesn't actually have an interoperability bridge to other networks. Specifically, for example, Bitcoin to XRP, right? Trying to communicate between the two, or even like the XRP ledger to Hedera Hashgraph, right? You cannot communicate between those two until there is an interoperability layer that is going to be able to put a bridge between the two and allow gossip and messaging formats to be transacted over that bridge with ease and without any sort of friction. It's going to be seamless. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are. And this has been Nick. Peace out, guys.